Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Hope your day is off to a wonderful start. Thanks to everybody for being here with us. Got pinned there in the chat. Welcome to your football weekend. Of course, Thursday night football. We had football last night, 2 college football games. And yesterday started 48 consecutive days with football. You'll have football every night of the week for 48 consecutive days starting yesterday. So anyway, very cool. A couple of college games last night. Got Thursday night football tonight. Let's see. Boom. And for those that are interested in the sports betting landscape, I know on Sujimiata Sports Bettors Paradise, the podcast every day, and they already gave out their play. It was a total play for tonight. I forgot what it is. So go check out Sports Bettors Paradise on YouTube. Check it out. Anyway, I got the Greg Brooks news there in the description, and I did pin the donation link for Greg Brooks' family. For those that didn't hear the news, the brain tumor that Greg Brooks had, the biopsy came back, was malignant. So Greg has a rare form of brain cancer. I believe medulloblastoma is how you say it. And LSU set up the Greg Brooks Victory Fund through the Tiger Athletic Foundation. The NCAA does allow, in rare cases like this, contributions to be made and for the athletic department, or in this case TAF, to set up a donation portal for people to donate directly to Greg Brooks and his family. So if you're interested in doing that, you can certainly do that in the link that's pinned there. LSU and Missouri continue their preparation. So LSU's going on fall break, and interesting. So normally Brian Kelly meets with the media after practice on Thursday. That's usually around 5:30 p.m. Today that's at 2:30. So LSU's practicing earlier in the day today because of fall break. So by the time we hit the air for AFR at 3 o'clock today, Brian Kelly will have already met with reporters on Thursday to recap practice. So we'll know how all of the preparation has gone for the game week, final prep for game week. LSU will leave Friday for Columbia and go up there, try to take on Mizzou. I do like LSU in this game for the same reason I understood an Ole Miss lean last week. A lot of times you can see a stinky line, brother. And LSU with that defense coming off that performance, going on the road against an undefeated Missouri team, sellout crowd, you would certainly think Missouri would be favored in that game. LSU favored by, which was 6.5, down to 5.5 now. Well, that sure tells you the odds makers are just begging guppies to just throw their money at Missouri. My guess is Missouri is going to be a very public play this week, and not only will LSU win, but they'll cover. So now, if LSU doesn't win this game, then I'll warn you that I'm probably not picking LSU again this season, except, well, obviously Army and Georgia's State. I'll pick LSU to win those games. But if LSU loses to Missouri this week, I'm not going to pick them to beat Bama. I'm not going to pick them to beat A&M. I don't know that I could pick them to beat Auburn next week. And maybe Florida, because Florida has obviously been very bad on the road. And I don't know that Florida's offense is even capable of scoring at that clip. The other thing that I'll point out specifically about Missouri this weekend, which as we start to talk deeper, about Mizzou, Missouri has been efficient, but they haven't been necessarily explosive. They played FCS South Dakota in week 1 and scored 35. They beat Middle Tennessee 23-19. Middle Tennessee lost last night at home to Jacksonville State. They beat Kansas State 30-27 at the 61-yard field goal at the end, the walk-off. They put 34 on Memphis and 38 on Vanderbilt. So you could look at it and say the last 3 weeks they've gone 30, 34, 38. So their offense is trending up, which there's some validity to that. You could also point out they played Kansas State, Memphis, Vanderbilt. So anyway, yes, I think Missouri will move the ball and score points because I don't think LSU's defense is any good. But I also don't think Missouri is going to go put up 700 yards of offense and 55 points. And I think there's a real chance that LSU offensively just continues to do what they do and puts up 40 points and wins this game. So, I could see a 38-31 type game for LSU. All right, let's say some good morning, y'all. See what y'all got. Fire away. Brian Wynn, Trivia Carter, Dalton Barnett. Good morning. Greg Brooks' situation tears me up. Yeah, man. The good news, the really good news, is according to the release from LSU, there's no indication that the cancer spread, which is great news. So, the really difficult part for Greg, obviously, is when you remove a tumor and I would assume brain matter as well. Do you ever fully recover from that, right? Motor skills, speech, all kinds of things. I mean, he's dealing with the brain. So it's got a long road, man, for sure. But the great news is it does not look like the cancer spread. So that's the awesome news. Wendell Norman, Jesse Brown, good morning. Irfan Sayyad, good morning. Larry Gardner, Damon Gilmore. Let's see. Bailey C. Say what you will about Brian Kelly. At least he'll make adjustments to his team. Dennis Allen would stand on a cliff that's crumbling. Yeah, I mean, one of the things we've talked about with LSU this year is that defensively they have tried a lot. I mean, you look at the defense, man. The first game, of course, Agofu was your jack. You're seeing more Braden Swinson now. Your inside backers were Perkins and Spates. Perkins has moved back outside. Penn starting an inside backer. You've seen more of Whit Weeks. Just look at all the cornerbacks they played. Week 1 you had Zy Alexander and Deuce Chestnut. Chestnut didn't even make the trip to Ole Miss. You've seen Denver Harris start. You've seen Ashton Stamps start. You've seen LaTerrence Welch start. They are trying, man. They are trying. I mean, everybody they got and every combo they can think of, they are trying. And from just a strictly football perspective, losing Greg Brooks is so significant. Greg Brooks is your most veteran defensive player. He's your best tackler in the secondary. I mean, he was the kind of like your quarterback of the secondary, right? Made all the calls and made sure people were lined up properly. So Brooks not being there, I mean, obviously his medical situation is far more important than anything football related, but specifically from a football standpoint, not having Greg Brooks is significant. Jesse Brown, morning, Matt. Do you think the Saints get the win on Sunday? I do not, Jesse. I don't know that I can trust this team to go on the road and get a win. New England is down 2 defensive starters, Matthew Judon, who's their best edge rusher, and Gonzalez, their rookie starting cornerback, is done for the year as well. So they're down 2 starters. They did trade for J.C. Jackson, who was great in New England, before he signed as a free agent with the Chargers. But anyway, no, how can you pick the Saints to go on the road and win? I know New England's 1-3. I also look at the fact that they've lost to the Dolphins, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. In the games against the Dolphins and the Eagles, they were right there with a chance to win them. So, Tara Walker, hey, good morning. Prayers up for the young man. We'll definitely see what type of LSU team we have this year. Do we have the fight to get off the mat, fight with pride? Yeah, I think so, and I think history has kind of proven that. We've seen LSU embarrassed in the past, and generally, I mean, this is just like I think it's a human nature thing. When you're competitive like that, when you get embarrassed, human nature is you respond. You show a little pride and you respond. Last year, LSU was embarrassed at home against Tennessee. A week later, they went on the road to Florida. Very much a pivotal moment in the season. And they hung 45 on Florida and won in the Swamp. So, Brad David, that was interesting. Russ Mitchell picked Kentucky to beat Georgia. He did. Russ picked Kentucky to beat Georgia. So, he's on the record. I think that's crazy. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, sort of thing. Cajun Country, Psychic Firefighter, good morning. Taylor Hudson, morning, Matt. Do you know anything more about Brooks' situation now? Prognosis, if he needs chemo, not sure if that's public knowledge or anything. Praying he recovers and comes out cancer-free soon. Nothing I'm willing to say, Taylor. It's one of those things. Let the family handle how they want to disseminate news. And I told y'all that I'd heard about the tumor and the surgery the Friday before Mississippi State, on Saturday. So, and if you go back and if you're interested and listen to Drew's backpacking. Apologies there, y'all. Sorry about that. Anyway, we're just saying about the Brooks thing, that Monday show after the Mississippi State game. I knew what was going on, but a lot of people were asking questions like, when will he be back? I was like, I think the way I said it is I think you have to prepare like you're not going to have Greg Brooks the rest of the season. But anyway, I'll let the family disclose what they want to disclose when they want to disclose it. Tim Gotro, good morning. Perkins for Heisman is now make defense great again. Morning, Matt. When rewatching the film, I noticed a lack of effort defensively, like the defense expected the offense to bail them out. Did you notice the same? Hard not to, I don't know if it was specifically because they expected the defense or the offense to bail them out, but given the number of missed tackles, it's hard not to draw that conclusion. Guy Brooks, good morning. Hope all is well with your family. Praying for Greg Brooks, his family, for a great outcome and recovery. Tiger Diver, what happened to Otterlocks the last 2 days? Jimmy's been sick. So he texted his picks late, but he's been sick. He didn't tell me 2 days ago that he was sick, so we called him expecting him and not knowing that he was under the weather. Antron Hemingway, good morning. Bounce back week, I hope so, man. Tell Drew and the family I said good morning. Will do. Thank you, Antron. Guy Brooks, Jared Guillory, technically Kansas State, Memphis is better than LSU's defense, yeah. Ray Langlois, good morning, Matt. I think we'll find out what our team is made of this weekend. Hopefully it's trending in the right direction. The thing that I'll tell you is, and I say this often, but teams are allowed to improve. You are allowed to get better as the season goes along. Last year, LSU was a great example of that. From where they were against Florida State to where they were in November when they beat Alabama. In many instances with a lot of new players, you learn sort of as you go, and you hope you're able to clear a bunch of hurdles and win a bunch of games as you do that. And I think this team will continue to improve. I like young corners like Ashton Stamps, LaTerrence Welch. Let them keep getting more experience. How much better will they get? Brian Yates, I'm sure, will play more. Hopefully we see more of Deshaun Womack this weekend. It's like Harold Perkins last year, y'all. I mean, Harold Perkins didn't really emerge until the Ole Miss game last year. It was the middle of October. I mean, how much different might the season have been had they known Perkins' abilities and had him on the field game one, snap one sort of thing. So you figure out things sometimes as you go. And I think this team will improve. I will guarantee you this. They're not going to give up 700 yards to another opponent this year. For whatever that's worth. Jason Horn, Jeff McKithen, what's going on? Brant Roban, Matt, do you think the LSU defense can adjust to sticking tackles in just 1 week of practice? I think LSU will tackle. It's hard to tackle worse, right? So will they do better than they did against Ole Miss? Yes. Bubba Smith, Josh DeVilliers, do you play fantasy football? I do not, Josh. I've never played fantasy football, man. I think I remember back in 96 maybe, I remember putting a team together with some friends, and I didn't even fill out my lineup. Ever. Kelly Gross, Jim Arsenault, Jacob Willis, good morning, y'all. Mark Hale, when does Kelly start thinking about replacing Matt House? I mean, Mark, nothing's going to happen until after the season. But, I mean, I've said it enough, man. I mean, you can't have a day like you did this past Saturday. It's hard to imagine surviving that. But they're not going to fire him midseason. David Tolson, hoping Pete Jenkins has given the D-line a little something this week that allows them to perform better than last week. Would hope so, David. I think it makes a lot of sense. Coach Pete and Matt House know each other. They sort of see eye to eye with how they teach stuff. You can always get better in technique, so I don't think there's any harm in bringing in Coach Pete. Richard Dukin, good morning. What's Mizzou's tempo? Will we be able to get subs in for our D-line that killed us at Ole Miss? Nobody in the SEC goes as fast as Ole Miss, so I wouldn't worry about that necessarily. But the bigger concern is they have two really good receivers, including Luther Burden, who's leading the SEC in receptions right now. And he's a quick guy. I mean, he's not a big physical receiver. He's more of like the diminutive fast guy. Think more like how Miami uses Tyreek Hill. Like think of that as a better comp. Dre Marceau, good morning, Matt. So sad to hear about Brooks. Prayers to him and his family. Richard making the drive from OKC. Hopefully LSU's a little more fight on D for me and my daughter. Hopefully so. Hopefully y'all get a good game on Saturday. Jim Arson and Matt, can LSU run the table from here? Can they? Yes. Will they? Unlikely. If you made me had to go place a wager, hard to see LSU winning at Bama, and they'd probably drop one more. One of, I would imagine, the A&M Florida Auburn games. So, yeah, I think you're probably staring at 8-4. Can they get it together? Sure, they can. Tough to make that call right now, coming off a day like Saturday. Gerald Mathern, good morning. Josh DeVilliers, what kicks are you wearing today? Jordan Lowe's. Teal. Gift from Lady Jag. Birthday present. From your drip is dripping herself, Her Eminence, Lady Jag. Let's see, a couple more. Let's see, do about 5 more minutes here. Please smash that like button if you're there on YouTube. Subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page. Share the post. Where are we? Michael Thacker, morning, Matt. Is the ceiling of the freshmen and sophomores on defense good enough to get this defense good enough this year? Define good enough. I think as they continue to, here's what I'll say. If you keep playing LaTerrence Welch and Ashton Stamps at corner, they can't be any worse than the guys you put out there, and I think they will continue to get better. I would say the same for Ryan Yates at safety. Deshaun Womack, I do not think is a 3-down end because he's too small to help you in run defense, but he can rush the passer. So I think there are things you can do that will affect the quarterback that they'll figure out. And yes, some of those freshmen will, I think, continue to come along. Rick Manuel, let's see. You're absolutely correct. What do we have as our priority? We have no trouble spending $5 to $7 a couple times a week if we sacrifice one of those coffees each week for a year, $240 a year times 100,000, 24 million. Yeah, that would fund a collective. Tom Grant, good morning. But the other part of it, Rick, is I just don't think it's going to happen, man. I don't think you're going to have a scenario where, because it could have happened already, where LSU fans were willing to just donate to the collective. Did y'all see, here's a great example of the NIL stuff I've been talking about. Did y'all see today what happened at Utah? I saw Barrett Sully tweet it. Here it is. Utah's NIL collective has gifted a brand new Dodge Ram 1500 truck to all 85 scholarship players. Let me say this again. Utah, the University of Utah, their collective gifted all 85 scholarship players a brand new Dodge 1500 truck. Please do not sit here and try to tell me that LSU is competitive in the NIL space. They are not. Okay? Are we abundantly clear on this? Let's see. Matt Plavidal, good morning. Ryan Slayton, good morning. Bailey C., you have to feel good about Denbrock and Kelly's ability to develop quarterbacks. Look, Bailey, I've been telling y'all about Mike Denbrock and when they hired Denbrock. And there was a lot of people maybe a little uncertain, but if you just look, don't look at anything else in Mike Denbrock's career. Just look at what Denbrock did at Cincinnati with Desmond Ridder. They went from his first year in Cincinnati to being, nationally in the bottom nationally in offense to like top 50 to top 20 to like the year that they had Desmond Ridder made the playoff. They were top 10 in every offensive category. Like, Denbrock's a really good coach, man, and you're seeing it. He's a really, really good offensive coach. Guys play hard for him. Obviously very good with developing players. I mean, he works with the tight ends specifically. Sloan is the quarterback's coach. Joe Sloan's the quarterback's coach, and Joe's great. So Joe Sloan also a whiskey drinker. So he and I share that passion as well. Okay. I got to get going. Sorry. Cameron Kaysen, why isn't Deuce traveling? Deuce Chestnut didn't travel last week because he wasn't going to play because he's not good. I hate to call out a young guy like that, but like they weren't going to play him. Like, you can't travel your full roster. So he was one of the scholarship guys that was chosen not to travel because they weren't going to play him. That tells you a lot. Trivia. Wow, I guarantee no more 700-yard games. It's kind of the point, trivia. All right, I got to go. Sorry if I missed your comment, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you're on YouTube, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Scone page, share the post. Y'all have an awesome day. We appreciate y'all for being here. LSU Daily is already live and AFR at 3. We'll see you. Peace, I'm out of here.